Hi there, it is me, and I am watching Me on Me. And unfortunately, this is my segment from this past, I believe it was May 8th of this year. And it was about the Suboxone ups and downs and more to come. And I basically wanted to state in that video that I wanted taper off my Suboxones, and I did really good, but I wanted to switch it kind of with the Kratom and just take a little of that, see where that didn't lay in the line of being something better, being less expensive, that sort of deal, seeing the doctor and all the costs that goes along with keeping up with the expense of having the addiction. Addictions are quite an expensive habit and hobby for some people, because it seems like I traded all my nice good hobbies for a bad habit, when that's exactly why I had hobbies, to avoid bad habits. So I got them in reverse. Usually you trade one for the better one, but I went the other way, which I think other people have done that too. So in any case, and a lot of people kind of gave me the thumbs up more on this one, I think because I was talking a lot slower and was starting to gather more of my thoughts. And despite it was hitting a year that day that I had last seen my daughter, it was hitting actually 2 years. I was really pretty sad that day. I am pretty sad still, but I'm surprised that I actually got 12 people wanting to subscribe to my thing, and I only had put out more, just this one, and then I have 5 or 6 out there under Heart Filled with Love, and with love is one word, not with and then love. With love is one word. Heart Filled with Love is one word. I somehow didn't separate it, now I can, or whatever. So you can always look up those, because they basically give you the start of the game of my beginning and journey of having an addiction, and the behaviors and stuff that caused me to be on this nice roller coaster ride of having an opiate dependency, as I more or less call it. And then my ugliness about the state and their ignorance to people that have these so-called, addictions and drug issues, and yet they baby you almost to come in and get help, but once you do, you're now like put in a class of just being a low life, and that's it. And I can see now why people don't establish to get help, because then you start getting your reputation starting to be ripped to shreds by these same people that supposedly want to help you. This is where I definitely tell people, do not get help. If you can prevent getting help from, I don't know how I call it, but these centers that seem to want to be controlled by one big group. If I could, I would recommend more of a one-on-one centered person and a one-centered doctor. I find the bigger the building, the more funkiness I find it may have towards it, may have more things, I don't know, bells and whistles go off. The bigger it is, I don't find it the better, I'll put it that way. So I definitely suggest, if you do need counseling, and we all do need someone to talk to, and it can't always be relatives, do not go to a big one if you can. You think the bigger the better. And not the cases that I've been seeing lately, no. Sadly, they mostly are conjunctive, so you don't always find yourself with a choice, or you have to go to the ones where you can only get your medicine, probably at the most 3 times a week or twice a week, because you have to go in for a P-test, because remember, they're making money off of you doing this. So if they find a way to inch your life around them, then they're going with you. So every little thing is just that. It's little steps and stuff. When reality is you need to make bigger, major ones for the most part, because time is clicking and we don't all have time to keep wasting on just the habits. There's other things now we have to focus on if we have just spent a lot of time with our drug issues and stuff. There's already been a lot of time wasted, and these people actually don't seem to have that much considerations to waste more of our times by having us go into these counseling groups 3 or 4 times a week, and they get old. I admit they can help. There's NAs, AAs, I've been to all of them. I find some are good and then some not so good. Some are trade grounds for them just to do other stuff, and others are really sincere about wanting to talk about. I know when I talked about it, I was so sincere wanting to talk about my addictions and where it got created and how it was started from being abused and stomach issues, and I just wanted my stomach to behave, and then I found the opiates to work, and then they ended up trickling through the rest of my lifestyle, and I went on to tell my story, and I have to learn to probably not say as much as I used to at times, because obviously having a big mouth got me in trouble too. Not because what I'm saying is wrong, it's how it's getting misinterpreted is the biggest mistakes. I seen people take what I said and totally shred it apart and put their own spin to it, and next thing you know, it's like, what? This ain't what I said. But in any case, yeah, I wanted to talk about furthermore about the Kratom if I had a chance to, but I haven't gotten back on it on a good enough basis at all, really, to even put a dent back into that story. So that one will be on hold. As far as tapering down the Suboxone, I can tape it right down to hardly nothing, and then all of a sudden one day I'll just feel like I might need like a whole strip or 2, and then I feel like I ruined everything I did for that month when I barely was taking, you know, one every couple of days. But then I realized that isn't so bad. It's because I have my children to prove that I will have quite a few left over. In fact, almost my whole amount left over. But I play those silly games with myself. So in reality, I know I do okay. And I know in reality, they don't replace anything such as the thought if I take more, I'm going to get more of a high from it, or if you do other things like, you know, some people snort it in their nose or something. I don't know how they do that thing. But anyways, it doesn't work. It gets shut off at a certain amount, so you're wasting the rest of it. By anyone who thought that, because I know someone asked me, do you take more? Does it work more? No, it's not like hydrocodone where you take more and it could kick in more, because eventually even that doesn't work like it does. Suboxone right after hand won't work after a certain amount. If people say it does for them, I don't know how, because most people I talk to say it doesn't work for them after they take more than 1 or 2 of a bigger strip, either the 4 or the 8 milligram strips. The biggest one I think I see is 16, but most of the time I see the 8s. Those are the ones I see mostly around, is the 8 milligram strips. It used to be the orange 8 milligram tablets, yeah, and then a couple of years ago those started to get more raced out, and it was more followed by the strips. So, and a lot of people still like the strips. Strips better than they see. This just don't want to behave on me. People actually say they rather have the strips than the pills, and they rather have Suboxone rather than Subutex, which I thought was really ironic, because I thought to myself, most people are still looking to get high and still want to take their medicine, so to be good to have it in their system, which I thought, you know, I'm only being honest here. It doesn't mean what I do, it's just suggestions of how I try to understand other people and to have a story to tell. Yeah, I thought it was really weird that these people would be saying to me, oh, I like it with the Narcan, and I'm like, the Narcan blocks. It's just weird what people are thinking. I'm like, the Narcan blocks out any other opiates in your body, so basically, like, if you got in a car accident and they give you medicine or something to help with the pain, you're screwed. I had surgery, and I only took Zepbotex, not Suboxone, Zepbotex throughout my pregnancy. When it came for the C-section, I felt that I couldn't even hold the baby or nothing. This was almost, not quite 6.5 years ago. I just was like, and I never was like that. And I've given birth 6 times, live birth 6 times, and that last one was a doozy. I loved it to pieces. I still love it to pieces, but oh my God. And supposedly there was no Narcan, and the funny thing is, I didn't take 3 strips a day or tablets a day. At the time, they still had the tablets, and I couldn't believe it when I saw that, because I was like, how can that stuff not be kicking in, the painkillers, if there's no Narcan? Why am I feeling them cutting me? And, you know, and I'm trying to mumble this to them, trying to say to them I'm feeling the pain, to the staff, to the nurses and the doctor doing the, and they're looking at me like, I'm sorry, and they're kind of apologizing at the same time. I'm like, then stop the pain. But, and I was shaking. It was a real doozy, and I had just been trying to come out of a bad funk, and it had nothing to do with depression, but being pregnant or stuff. It had been a funk that had started back by the time my mom passed away in 2005, and by 6, 7, I started to get panic attacks back that I had just gotten a break for almost I had a break of having no panic attacks for almost 10 years, and then I had a little floozy of a panic attack for a few months while I was pregnant with my son, and then one other son I had, and then I got a break from them for like 6, 7 years later, and then 7, 8 years later, and then all of a sudden I got panic attacks again. And not only that, I got into a funk. So not only was I having panic attacks, I also got in this funky mood where I was no longer wanting to do stuff that I used to like to do, like my collectibles, my enjoyments. And I thought it had to do with age, it might have to do with medication at times. I'd still get things done, I just didn't have the inspiration like I used to. And people say that could be somewhat the drug thing, but I thought, my mom didn't take drugs, and she kind of had a spell of that, so it could just be hereditary. But if I had to put into place, could it be a bit of both? Yeah, I think it could. I just am saddened because even when I have a good pattern to meet and I start getting things accomplished, that funkiness will still play into my daily activities, and I still have to somehow figure a way to get by it. It's nothing magical that has ever really gone away since it first tapped into me about now 10 years ago. It's not a panic attack, it's not a real rotten feeling, but it's not a very healthy one at that either. It's just a very low-key, nothing excites me, and boy do I hate it when those feelings come on. And people say, well, that could be like bipolar, but bipolar doesn't just come into your life abruptly like that, because like it kind of struck me one day and it just stuck with me. It didn't just like, I don't know, I just don't think it's bipolar, because I don't really have really highs anymore, really lows. To me, that's everyday living. I think I would see all the people I've seen now, witness what I've seen with bipolar. I think I would see some similarities to my own behavior, and I don't see these same people saying the same thing when they talk about their bipolar, and I'm talking about mine or what I read on the internet. It doesn't seem to be the same connection there, so I just call it my funk and go along with that. So getting back to the rest of the work here that I was trying to play out here, I wanted to make sure that if I go back into talking about my Suboxone and stuff,
1:26 a.m.
I
okay, button.
find myself, oh, hold on.
Okay, button. Talkback suspended.
Yeah. When I find myself getting back on talking about different things. God, that's a scary looking guy. I wanted to first make sure that when I put this out there, and that's me wearing a black shirt with my hair back, with sunglasses, or regular glasses. I'm always wearing glasses, so, and I want to somehow get the same people that are viewing this onto here. So right now, I call this Suboxone, the ups and downs, and more to come. Well, this is the more to come, even though it took 3 months for it to come, because I wanted a few bigger changes. And I have to admit, there hasn't been the big change on all this is that mostly I could say that I don't seem to have an issue of wanting to take heavier drugs. That isn't a thing with me, like illicit drugs. So that's a thumbs up. I don't have cravings to want to really get high. I only have cravings to want to subside the anxiety. So I don't know if you call that a craving to want another drug to help with anxiety. I just want to find a way to subside it. So that's where I was hoping that the Kratom would work maybe better than Suboxone, because I seem to suffer more with not just with stomach issues, but with the anxiety. The two are almost right link to link up there. And some of that funky feeling I can't seem to get rid of when I want to do stuff. My get up and go has gone up and went, and I can't go and find it. So I'm looking to find a way to get that back. So with those three things, hit some sort of stone, and the stone being a new version of some medical treatment, I guess you can call it, or some herbal treatment, or any kind of treatment that would be more suitable and adaptable into an everyday lifestyle that would be able for me to feel like I'm leading a pretty normal life and have a few of these things lessened, like the anxiety and the challenges of having stomach issues. And of course, you know, once you have a drug issue, they always say you'll always have a drug issue. You'll always have that urgency of wanting that stuff sometimes, but I don't think it's any more different than any other thing that you would want in life. But for some reason, the draw, like I also want a car and a house. How come I don't have the draw for that? But maybe because I think in reality, despite it being still expensive, it's more easy to still get drugs than it is to get a house, even though their expenses are still there. But I have more of an urgency now to want to get more like a job and a house, and a better place to live at least. So I'm trying to change my priorities a lot more different. I mean, they always were like that pretty much, but they got they get switched around sometimes when you get problems like this. So hold on. This is really irritating. Somebody will have to tell me exactly how you get that off, because this wasn't even on my phone to begin with until last night. I must have hit something and it just keeps acting up. So, okay, I know this isn't the most best video I'm gonna make, but I wanted to get it out there, and I at least wanted to say hello to a few people new. And also I definitely going back to the Suboxone, as I was saying before, if you're looking for a doctor, don't look too big in the closet for people that you think are gonna help you. You got to be really on guard, because the same people that I thought were going to help me ended up destroying my family. Okay, so these people that say they have these programs and they're going to be suitable to help you, and they're going to make sure, especially if you have a child protective service case going, I urge people to definitely go on the internet and grab a few stories. Don't grab a whole bunch of them, just a few handfuls that just seem to stick out. And there'll be one lady in particular, and all you have to do is just look up the corrupt system of Child Protective Services. Right there will give you one good answer of why you need to be careful about where you go with your problems, because unfortunately once you say you're addicted, hell, I don't hear them taking away people with cancers, kids away, but when you say you're addicted, they basically act like they give up on you. They urge you to get help and act like you can get better, but then after you tell them that you have an addiction, then you're now considered, you know, lost. You're not considered a person no more to
Screen
them.
off.
You're like, it's really a shame that
132
I really
Showing
believed
items 1 to 3 of 13.
in them. Sadly, I really did. I really thought, oh, this thing.
Charging started battery level 39%.
I don't know why it has to keep doing this. This has irritated me throughout the whole video, but I don't want to do this again. So, nevertheless, I'll just hide it. So, anyways, what I would recommend is you go online and look at as many people as you can to see how many are close to where you live, and the quietest people, if you can, the quietest seeing doctors. I don't know how else to put it, because I find even those guys still scare me. So when people ask me questions like this, I am really stuck, because I don't want to give anybody poor advice, because I know I got poor advice and it led me not to have my girls with me right now. So I was told, do what they said, don't worry about your daughters, Miss Anderson, concentrate on yourself, and you soon will be with your family. Well, it's 2.5+ years later, and I have yet to see my girls, and my heart is breaking, and so isn't my other 4 children who are not with their siblings. And this is not what we thought America was, and this certainly is not what their father thought America was. From being from another third world country, he really thought America was going to bring a lot of dreams and hopes, and that's an understatement now, because it's brought nothing but a lot of pain and hurt, because he fought to come here literally 3 times to get a right visa to get here, and came here the long way, not refugee ways and ways people feel more sorry for you. He came here the way you really got to pay to get in here and stuff, and work and show that you're gonna do something with your life, and not just collect stuff. And you know, and this is what he gets from it. 2 of his daughters taken away just because the mother admitted that she had a problem with a substance, and that she just was looking for some help, and made sure that I got the best care that I thought I would deserve. And next thing I know, I have my family taken away from this. It's not quite the American dream. It's more like a nightmare. In fact, I think Stephen King can base a movie on my life right now, because I got plenty of some scary moments and some really pathetic times that I've had to try just to protect myself from being, you know, out and about, and knowing the fact that these people think they really did a good job, and think they really put my girls in a better home, and think they have pride in themselves on this. And all I can say is, I hope to God, if there is a God, and I hope there is one, that karma does hit, because nothing is worse than taking a family away from, taking children away from a mother. That is one of the rottenest things I think anyone can do to somebody. I mean, there's a lot of rotten things, murder, and there's good line of categories of rotten things, and that's one of them right there. I used to hate always on a lot of Disney movies do that. They always kill off the mother. And I purposely actually don't like Disney movies because of that. I always thought, what the hell? They do it with Sleeping Beauty, Snow White. Where the fuck are all these mothers? They're always dead. Bambi's mother, they kill her. Dumbo's mother, I mean, they shot her. And it's like, what the fuck? Did Walt Disney have a odd concept of something about mothers or something. I mean, I heard he had a happy life with his children from a biography I saw on himself, but his movies are all based on the kids being orphans. I mean, at least motherless, so I don't know. Just a thought. So anywho, I will stop at that because it's already 25 minutes of me ramping and raving about nonsense, and I'm sure Disney isn't going to appreciate me underestimating their skillful talents of that on writing storylines, but at least keep the mother in there for the most part. I'm surprised they even have a few with the mothers in it, but I guess even a few had to have them, at least the 101 Dalmatian. There wouldn't have been a 101 Dalmatian unless they had a mother, and she survived all those puppies. Back in those days, even 70, 80 years ago, people didn't survive birth. If they gave that many births, usually your body took quite a beating and it didn't come back. So that's why a lot of people died in childbirth. You know, they still do, especially even less than 100 years ago, there was still a high rate of mother, but in infancy deaths, both regarding childbirth and stuff. And how the hell for someone that has anxiety to give birth to 6 kids, I don't know how I did it, but it goes to show you how anxiety can be separated in one category. But it didn't mean I didn't have a high anxiety, I just got through it. That's why I think it's weird how anxiety and panic attacks play into my life, because I think I've done some of the most courageous things and painfulest things, yet I still have panic attacks. How can that be? It doesn't make sense. And saying someone else thinking that same thought, how can I survive childbirth, one of the birth pains, and all kinds of other things that were pretty bad, painful events in my life, yet I can't seem to get over this creepy, panicky feeling at times. Why is that so, and why does it still trouble me? Even if I have medication at times, it still is there. So, go figure. Maybe somebody out there can answer my questions. And you definitely can leave. I'm going to do a Q&A eventually on my site, and I would love to answer questions on stuff, because it will give me more ideas of things to think of. Not that I don't have ideas, but I definitely would love to tell people a lot of things that I found out that I wish somebody had told me. And some people say keep it a secret to yourself. Giving out knowledge gives other people information about you, and it's not so much about me per se, it's about life in general, and kind of kicks and stuff about stuff that you might find a little bit amusing if you have the same type of humor as I do, which I think a lot of people do. But you like George Carlin, and a lot of the stuff that I find can sometimes have that way about it, which is ironic, because he comes up with such clever ways of saying stuff, and he remembers it so clearly, and he does those punchlines right to a T and matches everything up so. And he's an inspiration. I'll probably never make it that far, but he definitely was an inspiration of all the people, him, Maggie Smith, Olivia Newton-John, even Roseanne. I mean, I find a lot of their talents of singing, just some of the things that they do, I can appreciate different things in different people and talents. So usually one I can appreciate, and Princess Diana is another one. I have to admit, these are people that I have to admit had problems themselves, and yet they still pushed through in life. That's why I said I find inspiration anywhere possible, and that too is what I recommend. Doesn't mean you gotta live through their eyes totally. You know, you can admire them from afar, but you don't have to be like them exactly. But I definitely try to take something from, a little bit of something from everything I kind of come in contact with. Little bit of wisdom, a little bit of something to keep me more knowledgeable. That way I can be able to keep knowing things and being to express some of the stuff and keeping up to date with things, because things keep changing and they're changing faster and faster as time goes on. I mean, I still can't even operate a goddamn cell phone, as you can tell. So with that being said, I will go learn to operate a cell phone now. And by the time I do, they'll probably come up with another concept of a phone. So in the meantime, I am gonna say ciao for now and look at this video, see if it's worth putting out there, and if it is, I'll put it out there, and if it's not, I'll 86 it and put a new one on. Thank you.